This is Mac OS Ken.
Apple schedules a call addressing bugs and fixes for bugs, and iWork works better. It is Wednesday, the 29th of September, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Nebbia, makers of the Nebbia by Moen Spa Shower. Save 10% on Nebbia products by using code MacOSKen at nebbia.com/MacOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. 29 days until Apple's next earnings call. Apple updated its investor relations page Tuesday, letting folks know when earnings would be out for the fourth quarter of fiscal year 2021. Circle the date, Thursday, the 28th of October. Numbers will go out after the closing bell. Then at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, Apple will state the numbers verbally, provide color, and take questions from financial folk on the once-a-quarter conference call. Pumpkin spice lattes and candy corn to be served after. If you got an iPhone 13 Pro Max, congratulations! You got the world's best smartphone display, according to people who study such things. Apple Insider says DisplayMate, which sounds like a specialty publication sold under the counter to select clientele, but is in fact a site dedicated to screens. Yes, that DisplayMate issued its in-depth evaluation of Apple's top-tier iPhone 13 Pro Max, finding the handset's 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR display with ProMotion technology is the best in the industry. The site tested such factors as color accuracy, brightness, contrast ratio, screen reflectance, and visible screen resolution. iPhone 13 Pro Max tested so well it earned the publication's Best Smartphone Display Award. It also got a grade of A+. Apple Insider says that is DisplayMate's highest overall assessment. In case you didn't know what A+ meant. While mine is not the best on the planet apparently, I will say I am grooving on the Super Retina XDR OLED display on my iPhone 13. That thing about thumbtacks I was watching on YouTube looked really sharp, and the blacks are so black, I can see every smudge and speck of dust. The beta parade keeps on keeping on. iDownload blog ran a piece on Tuesday saying Apple had seeded the second betas of iOS 15.1, iPadOS 15.1, tvOS 15.1, and watchOS 8.1 to developers. Not long after, the piece was updated to say that the 8th beta of macOS Monterey was also out to dev types. Now, if you're one to wear both an Apple Watch and a mask, you will be glad to hear that Apple is working on the Unlock with Apple Watch bug. I told you earlier this week of a number of iPhone 13 owners complaining that they could not activate that feature. I also told you of a response from Apple saying that that issue would be fixed in an upcoming software update. It looks like that'll be along in the next update for iPhone. A separate piece from iDownload blog says the second beta of iOS 15.1 squishes that bug. As long as we're talking about problems on the iPhone, I heard from a few macOS Ken listeners in response to my alarming alarm issue. I told you yesterday that since getting my iPhone 13, my phone will only wake me with sounds built into iPhone. It used to wake me with songs that I'd chosen from iTunes or Apple Music. 1.5 listeners have had this problem. Serendipity Q wrote in saying, I have the same issue you mentioned about the iPhone alarm. It won't play Apple Music even if you have downloaded that music. Hope the problem will be fixed. Ken, no relation, wrote in to say, I bought an iPhone 13 on Friday and restored it from my iPhone XR directly. The alarm kept my customized ringtone, which happens to be Up Around the Bend by CCR. Quite effective, I might add. Thanks and keep up the good work. Signed, Ken. Meanwhile, Brendan wrote to say, my fiancé was complaining that her alarm on her new iPhone 13 wouldn't allow her to use music. The next morning, or the one after that, it worked. I don't know what changed. I'm helpful. You rock. So says Brendan. Well, I don't know either, Brendan. I've tried a few different times with a few different songs, downloaded or streaming. Nothing does the trick. As to Ken's comment, I backed up from iCloud rather than going from a local backup. Maybe that would have avoided the issue. Anyway, my alarm still wakes me. It doesn't surprise and delight, though. It surprises and makes me pee a tiny bit. With the release of the iPhone 13 line, Google has an interesting idea. If you can't beat them, ask them to join you. The way a piece from Mac Rumors puts it, Google is on an endeavor to convince new iPhone 13 users to transform their device's home screen to look like Android. You know, there are cheaper ways to do that. According to Mac Rumors, the blog post, written by Google's director for the iOS platform, features screenshots of an iPhone 13 home screen filled with Google apps and widgets. The post implies that customers should possibly consider replacing some of the Apple default iOS apps, such as Photos, Safari, Calendar, Reminders, and even Phone, with Google's equivalent of those apps, including Google Photos, Google Chrome, Google Calendar, Google Tasks, and Google Voice, respectively. If you can't beat them, ask them to join you. An answer from Apple around jelly scrolling that is likely to leave some people perturbed. I told you earlier this week about the watch it wiggle movement noted by some on the screen of the latest iPad mini. A piece from Engadget described the issue where one side of the screen scrolls at a different rate than the other, producing a wobble occasionally noticeable in portrait view. Over on Twitter, Dieter Bohn, executive editor of The Verge, said, "Yeah, that's a thing that happens. Basically," he explained, "many screens do this. Most of the time you don't see it because it's in the direction of the scroll. When it's crossed to the direction of the scroll, it can be noticeable, especially on larger screens." Apple likes the way he's thinking. On Tuesday, a piece from Ars Technica had the Cupertino company saying, "Yeah, that's a thing that happens." Quoting Ars, Apple has told us that the jelly scroll issue on the 6th generation iPad mini is normal behavior for LCD screens. Because these screens do refresh line by line, there is a tiny delay between when the lines at the top of the screen and lines at the bottom are refreshed. This can cause uneven scrolling issues like the ones observed on the iPad. Neither Bohn nor Ars Technica buy that completely. In another Twitter post earlier this week, Bohn pointed out that there are plenty of screens that mitigate the problem in some way. Similarly, the Ars Technica piece says we maintain that this effect is noticeable on the iPad mini in a way that it's not noticeable on other 60Hz LCD iPads we've tested, like the iPad Air 4 and the latest $329 iPad. There's also a clear dividing line down the middle of the screen in portrait mode as observed in our testing. The upshot is that the company doesn't believe there is a hardware or software issue to fix, and that the screen apparently is the way it is. Likely to leave some people perturbed. More news in a moment, but first a word from Nebbia, creator of the Nebbia by Moen Spa Shower. If you're somebody who's concerned with conservation, Nebbia is for you. Sustainability is at the core of every product Nebbia makes. Their products are better for people and the planet. If you're somebody who's concerned with a great shower, Nebbia is for you. Lots of showers are like a McDLT. There's always a hot side and a cold side. My Nebbia shower is more like a spa, sort of surrounding me in the warmth I want. Also, they have this really great magnet-mounted wand that can either hang there for concentrated coverage or be waved like a magic water wand where needed. Seriously, it's the best shower I've ever had. The Nebbia by Mo & Spa shower starts at just $199, and there is a special deal for macOS Ken listeners. The first 100 people to use code macOSKen at nebbia.com/macOSKen will get 10% off currently available Nebbia products. NEBIA, that's nebbia.com/macOSKen to see what they have to offer. The first 100 people to use the code macOSKen at checkout will save 10% on Nebbia products. Again, that's nebbia.com/macOSKen and use that code macOSKen to save 10%. Updates today for Apple's productivity suite. Engadget says Apple on Tuesday revved Pages, Numbers, and Keynote for iPhone, iPad, and the Mac. Keynote, Apple's presentation software, now gets access to live video feeds. According to the piece, users can add feeds from multiple external cameras and share a connected iPhone or iPad screen. A new multi-presenter function lets anyone control a shared slideshow and advance slides remotely using a Mac, iPhone, or iPad. Improvements for Pages are said to be largely iPhone-focused. It sounds like the screen view adapts Pages documents for the iPhone screen. I've not tried it yet, but it also sounds like the screen view happens automatically. While users can edit a document in screen view mode, the piece says it can be toggled off, so users can see how it'll look in traditional layout before printing or sending. As for numbers, there's a new chart type called radar charts according to the piece. Apple says that one makes it easy to visually compare multiple variables with similarities shown as overlapping areas, allowing differences and outliers to really stand out. And pivot tables have made the scene. With pivot tables, the piece says users will be able to summarize, group, and rearrange data to spot and study trends and patterns. A data analysis friend says, that makes sense to her. I say, I'm glad it makes sense to someone. The Pages, Numbers, and Keynote updates also support Apple translation tools in iOS 15, iPadOS 15, and the macOS Monterey beta. The 3 apps are free, so their updates are free as well. They're available now in their respective app stores. Apple Watch is not just for detecting AFib anymore, or delivering messages. Or I think it tells time. Anyway, new info from the American Heart Association Journal indicates that Apple Watch can detect arrhythmia besides atrial fibrillation or AFib. A piece from myhealthyapple.com highlights the findings, which get fairly technical and kind of confusing. Big takeaway, Apple Watch can find more problems than we knew. Plus, I think it tells time. Do you know what the C in C-SPAN stands for? A lot of people think it stands for Congress. It does not. C-SPAN actually stands for Cable Satellite Public Affairs Network. It's a pay TV channel, which makes news of its latest app interesting. The Mac Observer says the programmer has launched C-SPAN Now, a free mobile app featuring on-demand and live coverage of events in and around the U.S. House of Representatives, the United States Senate, the White House, federal courts, government stuff. Sounds perfect for cord cutters, though. It is brought to you by cable. I tried to tune into live programming and the app wanted to match me to my cable television provider. I'm a cord cutter, so no cable television provider. Boo. That said, they are posting a ton of video content for everybody, though that looks to be delayed by about a day. If you need your up-to-the-minute as-it-happens coverage with all the cords cut, the C-SPAN radio app is great for that. If you have cable or are cool waiting and want to see the sausage being made, C-SPAN Now is available now in the App Store. Apple TV Plus has another kids show in the works, this one tackling some weighty issues. The Cupertino streamer issued a press release Tuesday announcing a series order for Amber Brown. Based on the book series by Paula Danziger, the release says the series is an unfiltered look at a girl finding her own voice through art and music in the wake of her parents' divorce. It describes the main character as an every kid who is going through what many children experience and making sense of her new family dynamic through her sketches and video diary. Great. Another show about podcasts. I'm kidding. Interestingly, the series will be written and directed by Bonnie Hunt, known for acting roles in Beethoven, Cheaper by the Dozen, the original Jumanji, and her own sitcom, Life with Bonnie, as well as tons of voice work, and her talk show, The Bonnie Hunt Show. Hunt will serve as executive producer and showrunner on Amber Brown. Her IMDb page also lists her as this show's creator. And finally today, Apple has released a trailer for a short film that I'm not sure I want to see. I mean, I definitely want to see it, but just the trailer nearly made me cry. The first production from Apple's partnership with Skydance Animation hits this Friday on Apple TV Plus, called Blush. A piece from my Download blog says the short tells the story of a horticulturalist astronaut who crash lands on a small celestial body. All seems lost until another being lands on the space rock and shows the astronaut that even in the most troubling of situations, there is still hope. You may wonder why that would make me want to cry, but hold on. Skydance Animation is headed by John Lasseter, the guy who used to be the chief creative officer at Pixar. He's made movies about toys that make you cry, cars that make you cry. Have you seen the Pixar short Piper? Blush reeks of the same kind of straight for the heartstrings feel that could easily leave one blubbering, especially if that one is me. You can check out the trailer for yourself on YouTube. Blush lands on Apple TV Plus this Friday, the 1st of October. Coming up in a few minutes, the European Commission wants all smartphones sold in the European Union to support USB-C charging. This sparks a sometimes sensible, sometimes ranty conversation with Daily Tech News Show host Tom Merritt. Spoiler, Tom's not the one who's ranting. Weighing the pros and cons of the EU SBC mandate in a few minutes. Find it and listen at macosken.com or wherever you get podcasts. By the way, I've heard from a few people that the iOS 15 update has hosed the macOS Ken app. I've let the folks behind that know they are on it. I'll let you know more when I know more. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Nebbia, makers of the Nebbia by Moen Spa Shower. Save 10% on Nebbia products by using code macOSKen at nebbia.com/macosken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macosken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, That is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.